E salve a tutti carissimi ascoltatori di Radio Android, bentornati in una nuova puntata ed oggi ho il piacere di intervistare Franz Harary. Franz Harary è un mago internazionale, si è esibito su grandissimi palcoscenici, è riuscito a fare magie che nessun altro è mai riuscito a fare, ha collaborato anche con grandi artisti del calibro di Michael Jackson, con cui durante la sua carriera sono stati molto amici. Io lo ringrazio veramente per aver accettato il mio invito and thank you Franz for this interview.
Hey there, my name is Franz Harary. I am an illusionist, but more so magic designer and producer. Mario, thanks for having me on your show. It's an honor to be with you almost live in 3D. So I received your list of questions, and I suppose we'll just kind of go through them. I will pretend that you're right there next to me asking them. First question is, what was my passion born? How was it born? Well, when I was a kid, I guess I was about 12 or 13 years old, I got a magic set for my birthday, and I was fascinated with not just how these tricks worked, but why they worked, and how a little toy was somehow powerful enough to fool my teachers or fool my parents. You know, the idea that I, as a kid, could suddenly do something that adults could not do, that was very, very powerful. And it really, it fascinated me as I'd never been intrigued with anything before. I wanted to understand how this worked, and so I started kind of dissecting them and experimenting. Realistically, looking back at it, I was discovering the rudimentary principles, the rudimentary psychologies of misdirection and of focus and what makes magic work. So, and that's still the case. What fascinates me most about magic is not the effect, but the how-to, what goes on in the right and left side of your brain to make you as an audience perceive all this. Yeah, that's what this is all about for me.
How is your magic passion born?
I actually went to school to study music. I went to the University of Michigan and Eastern Michigan University, and I was on a scholarship, so I thought that I will become a singer. My plan was I was going to go to New York City, and I was going to be a star. But at the same time, I was fascinated by magic, and so while I was studying music, I was also inventing illusions, inventing big magic effects that I could do with, you know, the groups that I was working with. For example, the marching band, the University of Michigan, the symphony orchestra, the opera department. These are all very, very big productions. And I thought I can use my newfound passion for magic and apply that with these groups. So I started to experiment, and I came up with ways to make a marching band appear in the middle of a field, or to make a car appear, and how to do all this in a stadium in full sunlight, surrounded by, you know, people 360 degrees, and like 100,000 people. So all this is happening while I'm still studying music, and right about my fourth year of university, Michael Jackson announced that he was going out on tour. Well, I was a huge fan, so I sent him a videotape of me making a car appear in the middle of a football field. And I said, look, my name is Franz Harary. I'm 20 years old. I invent illusions, and I can do this for you on your stage for your show. And he saw it and hired me. So I flew out to Los Angeles. I immediately met my idol. Michael was about the same age as myself, and so we became friends really right away. And I never finished school, never graduated, and that was the end of that. After that, Michael and I remained friends for about 26 years, you know, and I created so much magic for him, both on stage, but also in his life, in his home. You know, it's the magic that we did together was pretty amazing.
What adjective would you give to magic?
So I'm looking at a question here. What adjective would I give magic? And to be honest, I have no idea what that means. I have no clue what that means. But I'll just tell you, what can I tell you, magic is, to me, it's everything. I wake up every morning eating, sleeping, and breathing it, and I have, I've made my life on trying to always do the next thing, never repeating myself, always looking to what's going on at the moment and trying to ride that. Back to Michael Jackson, he told me that, Franz, he goes, whatever you do, make sure you do it better and different than anyone else. And I've really lived with that. And that has been my mantra. And so really, I know what drives me is that need to create something new, something that has not existed in this world before, and then put it out there and see what happens. So, not sure if that's the answer you're looking for, but that's my best guess.
Franz, what's your dreams?
You ask, what's my dream? Well, That's a big question. I think it's an interesting question. I think people get into magic, people get into, really show business for different reasons and different dreams at different points in their life. I think when you're young and you become an entertainer, you're in it for ego. You're in it for that need for strangers to tell you that you're great. It sounds really weird, but this is really a kind of required component to any performer. After you've been doing it for a while, that changes and it becomes less about you and your self-serving of your own ego, and it becomes more about making a living, supporting yourself, supporting your family. And so that's really when it becomes a job. That's when it becomes a career. And eventually, if you've been doing it long enough, like myself, I've been doing it for about 100 years now, you find that you've accomplished that. You've got the security, you've got the career. So what's it for? And at least what I discovered that it's for, it's to try to change this planet in some way for the better, So I looked around and looked at really what I was doing, and it occurred to me that my message to my audience is that I'm a normal guy. I'm not special, but I've learned to I've taught myself how to create these illusions. And if I can do this, then so can you. And you can achieve your own goals, and you can go out there and be who you want to be. So it's really a message of empowerment. And I do that through magic. So for me right now, that dream is to continue that, to try to somehow better this planet for this instant snap of a moment that we all share together.
What's your favorite trick?
You ask, what's my favorite trick? Well, firstly, I try not to think of them as a trick. That sort of sounds like what your dog might do. But if you're asking me what's my favorite piece of magic, it's usually whatever I'm working on at the time, or my latest design, my latest invention. It's like if you ask a singer-songwriter, what are they proud of the most? They're always going to say that song that they just wrote, and that's true for me as well. And in this case, as I'm talking to you here, that would be a show that I'm producing for, if I'm saying it right, Zhenjiang, China, near Shanghai. It's called Ocean Dreams, and it's going to be the world's first mega illusion show with a crazy amount of multimedia, but more importantly, marine mammals, beluga whales, dolphins, sea lions, walrus. So I'm going to be doing massive illusions with these animals on a stage filled with magic and illusions and special effects. It's really a whole new kind of show. So we're set to open next year, and that's what I'm excited about. If you have to ask me, what am I, what's my favorite trick? It's the whole show. It's the whole idea of doing illusions, new magic with marine mammals.
What are your advices to young magicians?
Yes. You ask me, what is my advice to young magicians? Boy, oh boy. Well, it's a two-parter. Firstly, make sure whatever you do is you. Don't do other people's magic. Don't repeat. Certainly don't copy. Don't steal. Don't rip off. The way I see it is if you're doing someone else's trick, someone else's magic, you're basically a karaoke singer. And that's fine, but how much pride can you ever have as a karaoke singer? Magic is an art form, which means that it needs to grow and develop. It needs to reflect who you are. It needs to communicate your human experience. That's what art is, and it needs to touch people. So if you're just doing the same trick that 50 other guys are doing, then that's probably not happening. So go out there, create something new. Create something that's you. Create something that's never existed before. Now, having said that, the bigger picture, and I wish someone had told me this when I was first starting, if you want to be a magician, first look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is there anything else in my life that would make me happy? Is there any other job that would make me happy other than magic? And if the answer is yes, then do that. Don't even think about magic, because to be a magician is a full lifetime commitment. As I said, every morning I eat, sleep, and breathe magic until I go to sleep. I wake up knowing that there's 500 people in this world all working like hell to try to replace me, and I always need to keep ahead of the game. I'm always swimming upstream, and it is grueling, tiresome work. But it's what I love, and quite honestly, it's the only thing that I could ever imagine myself doing. So I've made that commitment. It's been a lifestyle. But I'm telling you, if there's something else that makes you happy, do that, because it's going to give you a life of much less work and stress and pain and all of those things that come along with, an insane amount of a commitment, something that you've probably not before imagined.
Okay, Franz, this is my last question, and now I thank you to get accepted my invitation. Thank you very much, Franz.
So that is my time with you today. Mario, I appreciate you inviting me to your radio androids, and I would like to say it's been a pleasure. To all of the followers, to all of your listeners, you can find out more about what I'm doing by going to my site, franzharary.com. Stand by for the spelling. That's F like Fox, RANZHARARY.com, or find me on YouTube and Facebook. In fact, like me on Facebook. That's what I should be telling you, because I'm always putting stuff up there. At this very moment, I am in Dalian, China International Airport, waiting for my flight to Shanghai, so it's been pretty loud in the background here. But I got to say, I cannot think of any other way that I would rather have spent this time waiting my flight than sharing a little bit of insight and a little bit of my life with you. Having said that, this is Franz Harary. See ya.